Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know we've got people all over the country, so Sydney-siders, Melbourne-siders, Queenslanders, not as many from WA because they're still at work. Lucky them. I am very happy. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Donna Armstrong and I'm the Community Manager for Joy in New South Wales. So for Queensland and Victoria ladies, lovely to meet you. I work very closely with Elise, for those of you in Melbourne. And we've got a lot of amazing women up in Queensland too. So thank you so much for coming. We are very, very, very lucky tonight to be joined by the amazing Fiona and Sandra from Women in Transition. These are Australia's #1 divorce recovery coaches. I just love that sentiment. I think if only we could have thousands of you, we would save the world.
Yep.
Over the last 8 years, these beautiful women have helped over 20,000 women rebuild their lives, especially following divorce and the end of a relationship. So I know you are going to love hearing from them tonight. For those of you in Sydney, Melbourne, and actually the ladies were saying Queensland, they have an amazing 3-day event coming up in September in Sydney and Melbourne, and earlier next year in Queensland as well. Before I get started, I'd just like to acknowledge that I'm hosting this meeting from my home in Manly in the Northern Beaches. In doing so, I acknowledge the Gayamagal speaking people who are the traditional custodians on the land on which I live and work. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge that sovereignty has never been ceded. This was and always will be Aboriginal land. So Fiona and Sandra, thank you so much for joining Joy tonight to share your stories, to share your passion, to share your joy. I just mentioned to the girls that a very good friend of mine runs a podcast called Hope is a Verb. And I love that sentiment, and I think that's something we may all channel into tonight. If anyone has questions as we're talking tonight, please just pop them in the chat. We will pause throughout the chat if there's questions that pop up, and the girls will be able to answer and talk to those. And I will hand over to our beautiful hosts and leave you to it. I'm so happy to have you here with us. So thank you again.
Thank you, ladies. It's absolutely our pleasure. So it just happens that a lot of our ladies who come through our courses and our events are already members of Joy. So, you know, we feel that connection with the group. And look, for us, Sandra and I have both been through separation and divorce. And for me, when I went through my divorce 10 years ago, or separation 10 years ago, I just refused to be sad and to stay stuck. And although it was the most devastating thing that's ever happened in my life and my kids' lives, I just knew that I had to rebuild. And when I couldn't find the support systems and the coaching and the community that I wanted, I decided I'd create my own, because, you know, I just wanted positive, inspired people around me. I wanted people to tell me that I was going to be all right, that I was going to get through this. And I needed that. And I just needed someone to have some, shine the torch for me and give me a bit of hope and faith. And, we've been able to be that for 20,000 ladies. We've got, 19,000 in our Facebook group, and we've coached, privately and group coaching. So we've made a huge difference in lots of ladies' lives, and we love the work that we do. So that's what brings me here. And I am supported by my beautiful friend and colleague and workmate, Sandra Lee. So I'll let Sandra tell you a little bit about her now.
Yeah, hi ladies, and thank you, Donna, for inviting us on here. It's such a pleasure to be here and to connect up with you. We've had quite a lot to do with you online, and it's lovely to meet you and your community in person. And it is such a valuable and worthwhile organisation or community connection, because we all feel quite alone at times, and it brings us together with like-minded people and positivity, and you just can't put a dollar value on that. And we, through our work, have met hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women who have been, on their own. They feel isolated. They don't feel like they've got a community. And probably one of the biggest breakdown with people's self-confidence and is a lack of community. So I just really acknowledge you for that and what you're doing and what work you're putting into bringing everyone together on such a positive and learning platform as well. Well, yeah, I've been through separation and divorce twice, two significant ones. With my first husband for 18 years, and had two beautiful kids, 5 and 8, when we separated, and had a business. We actually had 3 small, fairly small businesses back then, and we had wealth. We had over $1 million. We had to split with debt attached to it as well, and property. And I became a single mum, and still having to work to pay off and to mortgage my home to pay him out. And through that, I sort of fumbled my way into a second marriage, and I didn't learn what I should have probably from the first. And I ended up in a 12-year relationship. We had 2 kids each. They were teenagers by now. We had 4 teenagers growing up under the one roof. And I ended up splitting up after 12 years. So he had the affair, but I made the call. And, you know, it was only at that point that I realized that it was me that needed to learn and grow and change, because it was me that was so driven to, you know, be better and do more and do everything and be so capable. And I grew up on a farm, so I was pretty capable, and I could drive a truck and a tractor and fix a tire and do all these things. And it was me needing to just really understand what it was and he said to me, I just didn't feel that you needed me. And, you know, I thought, well, I don't need you, but I loved you. And you just expect to have this relationship that's going to go on forever. And it just doesn't. And unless you know what makes the cogs turn and how to make it, you know, interesting and exciting, and them engaged and you engaged as well through it. So my learning took me on a journey. Fiona and I we started off, well, as friends. We met in Melbourne, actually, at a marketing conference. We both run global businesses, international success stories on their own. We've both sold our businesses and our shares in our businesses as well, and stepped out of them a few years back, and we retired. And I had close to, when I retired, nearly 1,000 employees. And Fiona and I were sitting on Boxing Day at her pool, overlooking the beautiful waterways of where we lived south of Perth. And we had a champagne in hand, and we literally were sitting there going, what next? And we didn't want to call it retirement. We're both the same age. We're 56. We really wanted to look at how we could rewire and give back and contribute and be purpose-driven with our businesses and our focus. And my husband's retired, and I've married the number 3, and with my learnings, and I've got the magnificent man I looked forward to, and I planned for, and I worked hard to get. And Fiona's we've both been together with our man nearly 8 years, and Fiona's engaged to hers. And so we've got these beautiful men. They're great friends. Fiona's man had retired as well. So we had these guys that wanted to travel and do all this fun stuff, and we've had the funds to do it, but we just knew that wouldn't be enough. My last business, I had probably 50% of my life was traveling. So it wasn't about the travel, it was about the journey, and how could we come back to making a difference in using our skills and our experience. Business is easy for us in the sense that we know how to do it, and we know how to do it well. It was more about making something that was going to be purpose-driven. So that's where we are with Fiona. Had created Women on Transition. So Fiona, it'd be great if you shared a little bit about how you founded that.
Yeah, so just so I get a bit of a read from you ladies. So are you all separated and divorced? So put your hands up if you've been separated or divorced. Or, yeah, are you going through that journey, or is it behind you? Going through it?
I'm really behind you.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so, for me, my husband actually went to play golf in Thailand. We got on great. We had an awesome marriage, 3 kids, business, everything was great. And we were just talking about retiring, and he had started, pulling back out of work. We worked together for 28 years side by side and built this amazing businesses. And he went to play golf in Thailand with some mates, and he met a bar girl. So he came home and told me after 28 years that he doesn't want to be married anymore. So one day I was married and the next day I wasn't. And that was pretty devastating. And I think my knees hitting the ground over that and wondering, what's it all about? What's life all about when you lose something that you really, really love? And all of our plans went out the window the day my husband left, and for what our future was going to look like. So for me, I, wanted to know that I was going to be okay and that I was going to be able to navigate through this. One of the things that I saw, what I wasn't expecting, to tell you the truth, I heard from other people, because personally I never thought that I was going to be divorced. I never thought for a minute that it would happen to our family. We had never even mentioned that D word, because we were happy. We had a great life and everything was, we really were very good friends. And so I never thought that our family would be affected. And people had told me that young kids get much more affected than older kids. And my reality was, my older kids, so my kids were 19 to 24, it was such a brutal shock to them. And, I lost my husband, but they lost, their family, their identity. They lost everything, their dad, how they knew it, their mum and dad's relationship, what they thought was amazing. So for my kids, they were going through their own private hell, going through that time. So because I needed to understand it, I needed to help myself and help them, I threw myself into studying family therapy, NLP, strategic intervention, life coaching, all of this stuff. And I had always been a big advocate since I was 21 on personal development. So I'd always trained all my teams and everything. I always.
That's just Suzanne. I've just muted.
Yeah. So I always knew the importance of growing our minds and taking control of situations and defining and being strategic in the way that we actually want to live and what we want to create. So I knew what I needed to do and to navigate through this. And I recognized that we all have a past. All the ladies I was talking to, we all had a past, but we didn't have a future. We didn't know where we were going. We didn't know what we were capable of having or doing or being. And so that was the territory that we needed to, move into, so we could actually create the life that we wanted to live. And so that was the track that I took myself down. And along the way, I built this community of ladies who also were looking for that, what's their next step? How do they move forward? I think it's a very unique situation that we're going through. And I often said to myself, and probably the few trusted confidants, is that I would have found it easier for my husband to have died than what I would have for him to still be living, and to be living out there, with a girl 20 years younger than me, and the pain that was causing, ongoing, was traumatic. And it is a trauma that we need to be able to move through. So what is unique about our situation as midlife women going through separation and divorces is it's not just the divorce or the separation, your husband leaving or you leaving, and remembering that women are driving the numbers at the moment with who's actually calling the finality of the marriage. And that's for a lot of them, there's been a lot of years where they haven't been happy, and something happens that is the straw that breaks the camel's back. But regardless of however you get to the place, not only is it the separation and divorce, but it's also you've got to rebuild yourself, rebuild your confidence, rediscover who you are. Because, for many of us, we lose ourselves in our marriages, being good wives, being good mums, working, looking after aging parents, now going through menopause. And, there's a lot of stuff there that we have to, unpack and make whole and complete again. But then we've got to start and create our new life. So we've got to, create a new blueprint. We've got to have a plan. We've got to be able to navigate through it. And then if you want to get into a new relationship, the next big challenge is learning how to date and to actually have the confidence to put yourself out there, and then how to, choose who you're going to bring into your life and who you're going to, allow to be part of your family. And then as a couple, how you create a beautiful relationship and don't make mistakes again. So there's a lot there, ladies. And that's why I've found so many people who come to us and work with us, they've tried a lot of things. They've been to counselling, they've been to coaching, they've been to psychologists, therapists, they've tried the drugs. It's some of that stuff helps with little pieces of the puzzle, but very few. I just don't see anything. I mean, we are the number one program in the world because we actually have joined all the dots and we've put all the pieces together that get them from where they are to where they want to be. So that's what I identified was our challenges for the ladies, what they were going through, much more than just healing, but it was also all the other pieces. So that's what I identified they needed, and that's what we basically created. And our company's called Women on Transition because we are on a new journey. We are not in something. We're not stuck in something. You know, I believe this is the best time of our life. You know, our kids are getting older. We're getting to the place in our life that it's time for us to have some fun, to get out there and to, you know, meet new people, do new things. And I truly believe this is a wonderful opportunity for us. So that's what I bring to the exercise.
Fiona, I love that. A couple of the ladies are commenting in the chat very much around that. And I'm sure it sounds like everyone's at different journeys. Some people are right in the thick of it or in the first, 12 weeks or 6 months. Yeah. But a couple of the ladies just commenting that, it's scary. And then others saying, it seems like I'm so excited for the future on my own. And as you just said, there's a piece here that's like, oh God, do I get to have fun now? What does that look like? How, when you're in the middle of grief, any kind of grief, which separation is as well, is like, how do I navigate that? How do I navigate this dream of what the next piece looks like when I'm still in the depths of grief? And they coexist, grief and happiness.
Absolutely. And, what you feed is what you get more of. So, and I think we've got to create the life that we want to live. And it's absolutely possible for us. I knew in my heart of hearts that I wanted a new relationship. I wanted a new man. I was never going to just have anybody in my life. I just, I'd rather be single than have the wrong person. So I knew what I wanted and then, just had to work out how to get it. And there's a strategy, there's a way of doing anything, to get the best results. And that's what you learn in business is, there's always a industry best practices. And we just had to find the way to do that. So, and Sandra's, sort of had a similar sort of journey. So it's just a pleasure to be able to see ladies come in, not knowing where they're going, not knowing what they are capable of having. A lot of them have forgot to dream. They haven't dreamt for so long about what's possible for them. They don't even, they're scared to think because they don't want to be disappointed. But what we get them doing is believing that it's possible and move them along that journey.
Fiona, do you work, how is it mostly kind of live and in-person events that you do?
Yeah. So we do a mix because everyone's at different places and in their journey. A lot of people have different, they come through divorce at different stages as far as financially, how comfortable they are or secure they are. They also come through different levels of hurt and pain and suffering. So different things for different people. What we do love to do is get the ladies on a free call and we hear their story, we find out where they're at. And I think this is really important because I believe we need to tailor something for everybody to make sure that they're getting the right help that's giving them what they need. So, that's something that we encourage to have a talk to one of our divorce, recovery coaches and find out where you're at, what you're looking for, what you want to achieve, and then we'll help you map out the best way for you to move forward. But we've got like a $47 a month group. It's like, cheap as, but you get weekly coaching from Sandra or I in a group. It's fun. It builds community. We talk about topical, your challenges. We make sure that you're in state, that you know how to, control your mind, and we give you little lessons in there that you've got. There's 50 odd lessons in the membership, and there's each of them have got homework and things like that. And so that's a base community. Then we've got healing programs, what are our 3-month core programs. And then we've got our live events, what Sandra and I really love doing. So we've got like Sydney, Melbourne coming up. We've done Perth, we'll do Brisbane. And then we're also looking at doing America and Europe as well. So, and at those events, they're 3 days, and we get 100 or 200 ladies in the room. And a different day, it's a different feeling again, but it's just amazing to have everyone together, because we come together and we think that everyone walks in on Friday as strangers, and they walk out on Sunday with a new set of friends and a group and people who actually understand their journey. Because I have a belief, if you haven't been through the trauma of divorce, then you don't really understand it. And so, everyone can say family, friends that they understand, but I think it's very different going through it, and very often you feel very isolated.
Leanne just made a beautiful point, just about when you're in the thick of it. And I've been going through my own grief this year, not through separation, but another, life event. And this really rings true for me. She said, I'm in the thick of separation, admin, so not really thinking too much about the future and taking it day by day. And I think it's so like that in the beginning, isn't it? My dad always used to say, one day at a time. And that's literally sometimes when you're in something like this, all you can do. It literally is one step after the other.
Yeah, one of the things we do, Donna, is we encourage our ladies as they're going through the program to not date and to actually have a man ban, because we know the man that they'll meet at the end of the program and the end of the course with a raised level of emotional intelligence and healthy boundaries and understanding that, and have those learnings of what caused some of the things that didn't go right last time, that we can be stronger going in with our confidence and what we stand for, and be really clear up front and how we're going to communicate it. Because that's a big part of what we teach, is we talk a lot about masculine, feminine energy. We talk a lot about healthy boundaries, and we talk a lot about your own self level of confidence is what everyone else will judge you by. So if it's down here, that's where everyone else will come down to. So it's really important that, through this journey, you get yourself right before you start moving into having another relationship. And the man you meet here is going to be very different to the man you'll meet at the start if you're still looking now. So we encourage the girls to pause and just to give it a little bit of time, spend a few months working on yourself, and then move forward when they're ready. And we do talk to them about different ways of dating as well. It could be going to those fun walk, might be adventure walks, is what they love doing, or it could be something like a dating site. And we both met our men on dating sites, and there's a way to do dating sites and there's a way not to do dating sites. So we talk about the healthy way to do them and how you set your profile up in a way that's really super engaging and attracts the right men at the right standard that have done their own work as well. And it's a very different level of man that you'll bring into your world when you communicate in a different way.
I love that. Sharon just said the dating apps are so fickle, and where do we meet them?
Yeah.
It's all the ladies say that. They think that there's a special pond out there for, that they don't have access to, and they always want to know where you meet the best men. The reality is that we want to become the 5% of women who are emotionally healthy, who have healed from their past, who don't get triggered, who are complete with it. We want to become those 5% of women. And because we want the 5% of the men out there. That's who we want to bring into our life. We want the men who are over their exes, who have an amicable or good relationship with them. We want the men who are financially looked after themselves and in a good position. We don't want to be attracting the men who need to be looked after, or who get easily triggered, or who aren't over their ex, or who are going to be jealous and overprotective, or, dominating or controlling us. So, the only way we're going to be able to bring the right person in our life is for us to have done our own work. So we understand all of those patterns and we can see them. We know when something's not healthy, and then we don't bring it into our life. We move away from it. And without, we teach the ladies to flow through life. We take the highs and the lows out, and so they feel good about themselves. They're confident in the decisions they're making. They know they can trust the decisions they make. They don't need to be stuck in their head overthinking things, because so much of what keeps people stuck is their fear. And when we deal with our fear and we've got, a strategy to move through it and past it, then it doesn't hold us back anymore.
I saw Leanne's comments there, and Leanne, one of the things I did do probably on day one, well, probably literally within hours of moving out and into my own place, I actually laid down on the carpet and did like little, snow angels. I was just like, just peace and quiet and happiness and calm, and it felt like I just had that space and a place to myself with the kids. And it did feel like that I was able to just relax and not have the drama or the the arguments and the fighting and the things that were going on a daily, more than regularly daily basis. So it is an important part to take that time to heal through this, and to take the moment to actually, really reflect and look at where you're at. But you've also got a blank canvas here, and this is the exciting bit. You've got the opportunity now to start again. And what we tend to do is be a bit overwhelmed with, because we're still trying to clean everything up. But when you've got something good to look forward to and something exciting to look forward to, even if it's a weekend away with the girls, or to visit someone, it's something that you can have it as a bit of a North Star, and you can keep that in your lens and keep you motivated to keep moving towards. So little goals as well through, even though they don't have to be big, life-changing everything at the moment. It can just be one little thing that you're just focusing on for today, that gives you something to dream towards and work towards, and be motivated to get out of bed and put on some fresh clothes and brush your teeth and go out there and have a coffee with your girlfriends as well, or go and meet up with the Joy Girls. Yeah.
So a lot of our girls that we work with are successful career girls, busy, and they know that they just want to create a happy and fulfilling life. A lot of them want people to retire with friends. They want to travel, and a lot of them do want a partner. Sandra and I never tell people, what their life needs to look like. What we get them to do is tell us what they want, and then we show them how to create that. Some of the amazing work that we do that we love is we help ladies wherever they're at. So many of the ladies we work with have, they just don't have enough income. They're not earning enough. Their careers are stalled, or they had never asked for pay rises, or they're in a company that just is going nowhere. So we help them, work out what it is that's holding them back from having the life that they want. Sometimes it's finances, sometimes it's their emotional state, sometimes it's their kids, sometimes it's, all different things, their health. We work on whatever it is for them. And like in our 12-month program, we actually work on every single area of your life, because, true fulfillment comes when you've got we call it your wheel of life, when you have that balance. Because, for me, I was very career orientated. So I was a go-getter. I was very financial. I put all my energy into working. But when you're over-focused in one area of your life, there's always other areas of your life that are under-focused. So, my relationships with my kids and my husband they suffered because I was so goal orientated. So my divorce took me through that process of actually having a look at who I was and how I was showing up. And through that, I learned and I grew to be able to understand, why I was so driven. And I learned about masculine and feminine energy and how, I actually emasculated my husband. I also made him feel that I didn't need him. And I made all the decisions. I ran the show. And I used to say that was because he never walked alongside me. But the truth was, I didn't allow him to walk alongside me either. And recognizing all of those behaviors of my own allowed me to get new tools and skills and deal with them. So the man that I brought into my life when I did meet my magnificent man, he's very different to my ex-husband, and I had to learn how to allow him to love me. And that was one of the hardest things, ladies. It probably sounds so silly, but I was so used to doing things and controlling and running the show and making all the decisions, that to have a man come along who was a good person in his own right, he was secure in his own right, and he would pull me up if I spoke to him in a in a manner that he didn't like. And at first I was like, who the hell does he think he is? And all those little triggers that come, that happen. I had to grow through that, and I had to grow my emotional intelligence so I could be in a relationship with a better person, with someone who sees my greatness and wants me to be the best I can be, and who supports me in my journey. But also I can come home from being busy at work, and I can leave all that pressure and all that leadership and all of that stuff at work, and I can come home and have someone look after me and make me drinks and do things for me. And that was something I had to learn, because that is not something I ever had, and it's not something that I ever would have been possible for me if I kept staying in my masculine in the home as well as at work. So learning how to balance those two things are super important.
Yeah, and I saw, Janet, your comment, your agreement there. You're not alone either. There's thousands of us out there that have done that, and we've stepped in because something wasn't being done, and we're capable to do it. So we just took over the finances and paid the bills and did all these things. And it's not saying that you shouldn't take some level of understanding and accountability through all of that, but it's certainly about a lot around understanding the masculine and the feminine energies, and how you've got to have that polarity to keep the sexual energy going as well. So when there's no polarity, when there's, both of you too masculine or both of you too feminine, that's when you lose that polarity, which is another word for polarity is sexual energy. So that's when, it doesn't get so much fun to want to go and jump in the bed like it did at the first, honeymoon stage, and things change. And the other thing too is, we could tell you most of the ladies coming through that we connect with have lost a level of groups of friends, because their friends have been in couples, and they haven't wanted to take sides, and they've lost people that could be their confidants or people that they could trust, because they were still friends with the other people, even if they were still friends with them. So they've lost what was their networking community and friendship group that they used to hang out with. And I know with my husband, we used to just, one of the things, the big thing I missed was the social side. And it was on a Thursday night, hey babe, let's just go down to the wine bar and have, tapas and drinks. And I had no one to just go, hey, because then I had to organize it with the girls, or organize someone to go with me, and ring up and ask someone, or find someone to go with me. And, most people on a Thursday night don't want to go. They will go on a Friday or Saturday, and you've got to plan ahead. So I really lost that spontaneity that we had in the relationship of going out and just having something casual. Hey, let's just pop around the corner, and that companionship. And I really craved that, and it was something that I was looking for in my early days when I started to go back to dating. Was really clear on wanting to find people that were fun to hang out with, and to have companionship, and Fiona and I ended up going through we split our husbands, and both told us they were having affairs within a few months of each other. And we ended up knowing, we knew each other for a long time before this, but we knew each other then as single girls as well. And we did have some fun going out dating, but certainly it was, we were both going through our own journey, and it's important that you create your own community that you trust and people that you can go to. People that are our friends don't always give us the best advice. They'll give us advice that they think we need to hear, versus some advice that can be really constructive and really strategic, that can really help us move forward as well. So it's really important that we listen to the right people, and not always, that may be unreasonable friends sometimes, as opposed to the friend that will just tell you what they think you need to hear as well. Yeah. But it is a tough time, and it's great, Janet, that you're here. You've got a great community, and you have got beautiful soul sisters here, all looking and wanting to connect as well, and find their joy. And I think that's a beautiful place to have this. And again, well done for you girls.
Thank you so much.
Too.
Yeah, it's really enlightening this tonight for me. Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's really nice to hear, the feedback, because I've been in a 30-year-old marriage, and I've actually initiated it because of, like you said, for various reasons, just grow out of each other, and not getting out of the what I need out of the relationship. So just it's been probably 6 months. My husband still lives in the house, so yeah, just navigating around, and I'm thinking of selling the house and moving and all that. So yeah, it's pretty big. And as I said, I've lived in this bubble for 30 years of doing everything, and now I need to, figure it out on my own. So yeah, it is quite daunting with no friends and no family here. So it's been really daunting. So that's why I joined Joy, obviously. So just to get out there a little bit.
Whereabouts do you live, Janet?
I'm in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Frankston, Melbourne.
Oh, no, Frankston.
Okay.
Well,
That's my area.
Yeah.
my daughter went to uni at Monash, so she was
okay.
Melburnian for a few years. Yeah, 6, 7 years. Yeah, and then she was with Victoria Police.
Oh,
She just
wow.
went back this year. Yeah, she loved it. So we're going to be in Melbourne in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so we're
I
going
did
to be
see
there.
that. But unfortunately, I think it's Friday, isn't it? 9 o'clock in the morning, and most of us working.
So
It's a bugger.
it's all day.
Sorry?
It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah,
And
yes, correct.
honestly, ladies, it's worth taking the day off, or have it as a mental health day. You're allowed to do that as part of your sick leave.
Correct. Yeah, that's true.
And honestly, it's the best thing you'll do for yourself.
Yeah.
If you can't get the day off, just come Saturday and Sunday, because we do a revision on the Saturday morning anyway.
Oh, perfect.
And
We have to stay over, do we? We have to get a motel, or we could travel wherever we want. Is it the whole day? Like, what sort of hours is it? It's 9 till 5 or something, is it?
It's 9 to 5 for 3 days. It's Saturday evening. It's $27 for 3 days. Fiona and I, when we're sitting by the pool, when we talked about this years ago, we thought, how can we make this affordable that everyone can come
Yeah,
to?
thanks for that. It's very
And so
affordable.
we're subsidising it so that we can have people there and it can help them, and that you'll walk away with tools and techniques and strategies and new friends for life. I guarantee
Because
that.
I do want to attend. So
Yeah, Sue's just said she's taken the day off work so she can come.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
Janet-
absolutely worth it, ladies. I mean, we have clients pay us very, very handsomely for our coaching, and we're doing 3 days for you guys, and for $27. Upgrade if you want to, it's $97. That gives you a book and a networking event on the Saturday night. But if 27's all you can do, it's still the best money that you're ever going to spend. We go through every part of your life. So we do a financial section. What's amazing, Sandra does, showing ladies how to do a side gig, or how to
$3,000 a month is what we focus on increasing as a side hustle.
how you can earn more, how you can look after yourself emotionally, how you look after your health, and how you get into beautiful relationships, how you choose the right men,
I think that's what a lot of us need. We really need that.
We all need it. We didn't get one of those manuals when we had babies or got married or got divorced.
Correct.
And this is your manual. So what we did was put together, Fiona's written the curriculum and content, and over the 3 days we share our stories, but you get to hear from ladies in the audience that have already gone through, they're back where you are now, and they've been there, and they share the journey of the steps they took, practical.
Yeah. I think that's what I
steps.
need at this stage anyway. I really need to hear all that.
Yeah. So we got Melbourne 3 days and Sydney 3 days in September. And if I urge you to take the Friday and make it, put yourself first for once, ladies, and instead of working out, I can't let my boss down, or I can't I can't make it work, and in Melbourne, it's at Batman's on Hill, which is it's on just across the road from the Victoria train station. We made it central in the CBD, right next to the train station, so you could travel into easily. And we're all staying above the hotel, and there's a discounted hotel rate.
Yeah, we don't know about that, because it'd have to be like, maybe we can like carpool it. Like, get a few women to like share a room or something.
I was going to say, Jenna, Elise and I can chat to you about that. And if we've got enough people, or 2 of you, or 4 or 6, we can definitely, organise hotel rooms and.
Yeah, and
Donna's got a link that she might drop somewhere later, and we could send out, so you can book through that, and that'll give you your discounted ticket as well.
Perfect.
It is the same, 3 days in Sydney, and the value of coming along. It's at the golf club just out of Sydney. It's on light rail and the train line as well, and we've put a lot of time into making sure we've got venues that it's free parking in Sydney as well, that you can get to easy, and there's accommodation just nearby if you need accommodation. So don't wait till we go to maybe Brisbane next year, because you can start your learning now. And I remember people saying I'm eventually I'll heal, or eventually I'll get over it, and you just don't. And there's a lot of very old bitter people that, because they haven't done their work and haven't healed and haven't gone through the learning journey so that they could be able to live the rest of their lives fulfilled. And ladies, I think there's all of us have got probably a good 50 years left here, so we want to make sure that the next 50 years are even better than the first 50.
And I really want to bring that home to you ladies. There is so many ladies out there who have been divorced 5, 10, 20 years and have never healed and have never grown beyond their pain. And not only does it affect them, it affects their whole family. There's women who still can't be in the same room as their ex. They can't celebrate as a family. They can't have weddings or christenings. Grandchildren come along. And I'm honestly telling you, I'm all about family. I want to rebuild families. I want to teach you how to come from love and compassion, so that never has to be your reality. My ex-husband and his new wife, a Thai wife, they come to my house for Christmas because I want to make it easy for my kids to have a family and for us to all be together. And so, I just help you heal, so you don't have the emotion tied around your past, that you actually, we get you to package it up, to be grateful for what you got out of your 10, 20, 30 years, whatever it was, and for it to have no emotional hold over you. So then you can tie it, we tie a bow on the top, set it to your side, and then your life is all about, where do I go from here? What's the next steps for me? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And then we start creating that beautiful new life for yourself. So
that sounds great.
That's your birthright, ladies. Do not stay stuck, and do not allow your divorce to define you, because you're worth so much more than that. And the thing is, when you're happy, you make everybody around you happy. When you're sad, you actually are really hurting your kids and your family and friends, because they don't know how to fix you. And a lot of them get tired of trying, and then they start to move away. And that's why you feel so isolated sometimes.
I think
so true. Sorry, Sandra. You go.
Leanne asked about Brisbane dates. We don't have any. I mean, it's a possibility we'll be in Brisbane next year, but it's not confirmed or booked. And we say, when's the best time to plant a tree? Today. And it's 50 years ago or today. It's really important that you start your learning now, because by the time we get to Brisbane, you could already have done a lot of your learning, and we could even be you going to that next level again. So you can be already starting to really put into place some healthy foundations that are going to really build the building blocks going forward. And yeah, we'd love to see you there, Leanne. And we know the girls, when they do come down, we had a girl travel down from Darwin to Melbourne last in February, and
Oh.
she said, I'm here from Darwin. And we went, did you say Darwin?
Wow.
She said, well, I didn't think you were going to come to us. So Mohammed came to you, and she said, she said, I just knew I had to do something and I needed to do it now. She was just, felt very isolated, very alone. She had a great family and a good friendship circle, but she felt that she couldn't go to them. And she said, every time I speak to them, they just tell me to get over it and move on and get on with it.
You don't want to hear that.
No. And she said, I just want to punch them in the head when they say that. So she said, I can't do that. And I said, no, you can't do that. So we were, and one of the things that we looked at early on was, communities and groups that, I know Fiona went to America even to, get someone that could mentor us through it. We were both professional women working through with kids. Mine were a bit younger, and certainly with my second marriage, they were 14 and as you know, that Taylor was going through, my daughter was going through TEE. So she was our year 12. So she was nearly 18 and my son was 21. So, that there's no good age for this to be happening, and it's different for every age. And people say, oh, I'm going to wait till my kids get older then leave. But the reality is, at the older they get, sometimes it's harder for them.
Yeah, my son's 24 and he couldn't stop crying.
Yeah. And there's that personality that starts manipulating around for them, from the parents to, saying things to them or getting them to stay with them and not stay with them, and give them money, not give them money. So, or say things about the other partner. And, we had one lady who actually tried to commit suicide, and her son's found her and they haven't forgiven her for that.
Oh dear.
We've got a lady I spoke to 2 weeks ago, and she went onto a dating site, and she'd gone through the separation and she'd gone through the settlement. She had about $500,000 from it in cash, and she was scammed from an online dating site or from a guy on an online site, and he took nearly $400,000 from her, and it was to invest in some, double your money. And her daughters aren't speaking to her now because. And on top of that, she went and reported it to ScamWatch, and then they came back after this, and the scammers came back and said that they were there to help her get her money back, and she paid them more money.
Oh, no.
It's just, we've heard probably everything, I think, and from abuse, financial, physical, also mental, child abuse, everything we've heard. And at the end of the day, it's about you being right, so that you can be the strong one, and you can be the role model, and you can be the one that steps up and shows everyone else around you how to work their way through it and guide them as well.
I think you've touched on so many key pieces. I've seen in my friendship circle a lot, the masculine feminine struggle is so real. And I think we've, the last 20, 30 years growing up knowing we can do it all. And so we started to. And then that's a very hard, raw place for many relationships.
Yeah.
I'm really conscious of everybody's time. I also know Sandra's got another Zoom call to go to, but does anyone have any questions? We've kind of talked a lot. We're kind of like, this is a bit of a workshop masterclass, but we've also talked a lot about, the event and what to get out of coming to the day with the girls. It was just a free session tonight to really air some questions, see where everyone's at, give you some insights. I'd really love to know, ladies too, do you get many women that come to your classes who are in relationships?
We forget a few. We certainly had a couple in both Sydney and Perth, Melbourne and Perth in February. We had a couple of ladies that were still in their relationship, living in the same house in some cases, but they had separated and they still hadn't quite worked out the last bits, and wondering whether they would call it or not call it. And actually, I would say in most of the cases, the girls that were still there and were trying to make it work actually used the weekend to learn from, and they actually went back. And the cases of the girls that I spoke to actually made it work, and their husbands and themselves reconciled. So because
amazing.
what we're teaching is, I mean, we should have learnt this when we got married, right? You know, and we just don't. And if you can learn it and to try and if it hasn't gone past the too far gone, and you can reclaim it, then it's definitely going to end up stronger because of this. Because if you're both prepared to do the learning, you're both prepared to come together and open up and be honest, then this is the best thing for you as a couple for sure.
Yeah, amazing. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Great, Suze.
Thank you. I just wanted to double check. I've seen it advertised that it's $27, and you mentioned that there's if you pay extra, you get a networking evening that night to other ladies.
We forgot to mention the fun bit.
There's an upgrade, what's $97 instead of the $27. That includes a ticket to the networking event, and we have some bubbles and some food. It also is a 100-page workbook that I've, that covers all your slides and things that we go through during the day. And we've done some live training, Sandra and I. So there's about 7 live trainings, what are around an hour each. So you get all that on a membership site as well. And you get a free call with Sandra or I to talk to you about where you're at and how we can help you forward as well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I will say most of the girls do the VIP just because we get you to sit up the front. They come in first, but they get the extras, and we know you're serious. You're stepping up, you're showing up, and you're investing in yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
So our group's there, ladies, if you want specific help with separation, divorce. We're called Women on Transition. We've got lots of free resources on our website as well. And there's some, videos and things like that. I can listen to some of the ladies' stories. Like, I think I've put over 100 online, but just amazing to look at how ladies have come in, very much wherever they were, and they've been able to navigate their journey. And that's just beautiful and inspiring.
And Donna, you've got the booking link if the girls want to book through.
I've popped the link in the chat. I can see Sharon's already seen. I've popped the link in the chat. I've just popped the girls' website in there as well, so you can jump on and look at resources and have a look around. And let's Queensland. I'll jump on tomorrow and just post and have a chat with you on the bottom of the event from tonight. Victoria, I'll chat to Elise in the morning, and she can reach out and talk to you about accommodation options, and Sydney will do the same as well. So we can chat. You'll see in our special events on the platform is where the 3-day event will be, but you can also chat on the bottom of the event from tonight as well. So we can all reconnect and talk accommodation and share. We have a lot of usually organically, because it's been member driven, we create new spaces on our Joy platforms all the time. If there is a desire to have a group where everyone can get together in their local communities to have these conversations, especially for those who go to the event, we can certainly create that space so you're all together in one spot to keep talking and sharing and having those conversations, talking accommodation options, whatever. That's really easy to do.
I hope we gave you some hope, ladies, because I want you to know this is the best time of our life. Our kids are growing up, and it's our time to have some fun. And so just remember, this is where you can start really prioritising yourself and get out there and heal and grow and become your best self. So love to you all.
I look forward to meeting you in person, girls, for the girls that are booked and coming, and super excited to see you there and for you to enjoy the weekend. It's such an amazing experience. And don't feel that you're coming on your own, because we have most of the girls actually come on their own. You're welcome to bring friends, of course, but most tend to come on their own, and they walk in. They do, as Fiona said earlier, quite unsure, little scared rabbits, but by Sunday they're walking out Wonder Woman, and they're powerhouses, and they've got a plan. So that's what we love. We love seeing that transition, and we're there to hold your hand as well.
So wonderful, girls. Thank you so much. And huge thank yous to everyone for jumping on tonight. I know time is our hugest, most important commodity. So I really appreciate you guys coming along and listening. And hopefully this has given you some insights. And we will definitely be having the girls on again, and probably setting up some workshops like we've done with a lot of our health and money and all the other workshops that we do on the platform. So yeah, we'll put some good stuff together. And if anyone needs anything, reach out to myself or Elise in any of your communities.
Awesome. Thanks, Donna.
Have a great night, ladies.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye,
Thank
girls.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.